Welcome back, and yes, it is Ghana month, and so we're representing GH all through and through right here on TV3Newday and also on all the media general platforms. And so stay with us. I mean, there's a lot that you'll be learning about your beautiful country, and you get to share with us as well some of your memories as, you know, a Ghanaian child living in Ghana, all of that and more. But good news, of course, as we're celebrating Ghana month is the fact that yesterday we welcomed some number of students from Ukraine. These are Ghanaian students who were stranded for one reason or the other following, you know, the war that has broken out between Russia and Ukraine. And a lot of parents were worried. There were agitations all over the place as to when these students will come back home, especially looking at the videos that we had seen on the internet concerning African students who were stranded at the various borders and were not being allowed to cross over, in many cases for the fact that they were African. And so government stepped in almost immediately, had a plan to evacuate a number of them. And over the weekend, we heard from the Foreign Affairs Minister who gave us an update of how many students they had been able to, you know, get in touch with and were aiding to cross the border and helping so they can also board flights to come home. Yesterday, we received a number of them and we're very happy, but of course, we're still worried about the others. But government has assured us that a lot more is being done to ensure that these students cross over, you know, to the country. Meanwhile, Foreign Affairs Minister Shirley Ayoko-Botwe has said that some stranded Ghanaians in Ukraine say they do not want to return to Ghana, although the opportunity has been presented to them. And she made this revelation when she met parents. And remember, yesterday, there was an official meeting between parents and governments and guardians, of course, of Ghanaians living in Ukraine. And it has been bombarded for the last 7 days. So she, however, adds that after the evacuation grace period elapses, the fate of such persons will be in their own hands. Let's listen to what she said exactly.
On 28th of February, which is yesterday, an estimated number of 527 Ghanaian nationals had crossed the Ukrainian border to various European countries, and they will soon be with us in Ghana as long as they are willing to be evacuated, and it will be at no cost to them. I say that because there are some who have indicated that they do not wish to come back home. So after a couple of days, they will be on their own, because government cannot cover those people forever. What we are covering is to bring them to a safe place, which is bring them back home. As many of you parents have indicated that you want your children back home. So government will do that.
Well, let's cross over now and speak to some of these Ghanaian students. One of them returned yesterday, very excited, and he's ready to talk to us. He's John Jemmeki. He's a former vice for Nugs Chenvitsi. I hope I got that right. And also, one other person who's been able to cross to Budapest in Hungary is Daniel Amwabing, and both of them are students in Ukraine. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good to have you. Now, let me start off with John, because you returned yesterday. Welcome home.
Thank you so much.
How do you feel?
I feel okay. I feel good.
When you say you feel good, I mean, I'm sure that you're worried. Tell me what your experience was like. Where in Ukraine were you? And was there any strike in that part of the city that you were?
Okay, so I was in the western part of Ukraine, Chernihiv to be precise. Yeah, and my city was just 1 hour drive from Romania. Yeah, so we mobilized our people and then we left in the bus. So we're 24 in number to the Romanian border, and because of the long queue, with people trying to evacuate themselves out there, we had to walk at a point for about 3 hours.
3 hours?
So we got to the 3 hours.
With your luggage and all?
Took a lot of yes, with our luggage and everything.
Wow. Carry on.
Yeah, so when we got to the border, that was where the real deal started. So personally, I was the second person to enter. Yeah, because we had the letter with us, which we wanted to carry on to the officials in there to allow the Ghanaian students to cross as a group.
Okay.
And so I tried to enter a second, and I took about 13 hours to exit into Romania. Yeah, it was very stressful at border end there. Yeah.
It took 13 hours.
Very cold. Yeah, 13
So
hours
after walking for
from the
3
girls'
hours to
island.
the border, it took you another 13 hours there. That means that you probably spent the night at the border.
Yes, we did. I left the border in the morning around 6 a.m., 7 a.m.
Did they provide some
Yeah.
sleeping tents for you? I mean, how did you manage?
Okay, so at the Ukraine side of the border, there's no shelter. It's very cold. We are all exposed. You are there with the Ukrainians. There's no food. There's no water. There's nothing. But when you cross to the Romanian side, there are volunteers there who bring you clothes. They take you into their cars, turn on the heaters, give you food. Anything you want, they just give it to you. So the volunteers at the Romanian side were those who really helped. And before I got in there, I contacted the pastor, sent some people to come and meet us there. And so they gave us shelter. He took us to a particular place and then gave us food. And so he was taking care of us, going to the border and then bringing people back until the ministry came in and then they took over.
So this pastor was Ghanaian?
No, he's a Romanian.
Okay.
Pastor Sami Marius.
Okay.
Church of Pentecost. Yeah. Actually, we contacted the leadership here, the chairman and the IMD, as well as the general secretary. So they made such contact and then give us his contact.
Okay.
And then we spoke to him, and he came to our aid. Yeah.
Okay. So once you cross the Romanian border and after a few hours, I mean, the Ghanaian mission was able to, get you out of the border and into the mission, right?
Well, from the border to where we went to lodge for the night was still catered by the church.
Okay.
And it was when he moved us from that city, Suceava, there was a city closer to the border, to the capital city, that is Bucharest.
Yeah.
Then we met with the ambassador there. Yeah, so we had contacted the ambassador and he told us of Czech Republic. He told us he was sending his deputy. So we had to meet him at Bucharest.
Okay.
It was there he came and realized that most of the students didn't have money for tickets. So he took us back from the airport to a hotel and then booked us for the night, took our passports, and then went to get us our visit. Tickets.
Tickets. So you didn't have to pay anything?
No, we didn't pay anything.
Okay. So all 24 of you boarded the flight yesterday?
No. Some people didn't want to come, and then some other people. So for the 24, we were not all Ghanaians. We had Zimbabweans with us. Okay. And we also had Nigerians.
So how many Ghanaians and then were on the team in all?
18 Ghanaians.
18 Ghanaians. And how many of you boarded the flight?
Yeah, so I think just 14. But other people from other cities had joined us. And so I think 2 ladies. Okay. They came to join us. So.
But for those who didn't want to come back, what was their reason?
Well, people were trying to go to their families in the UK, Germany, and all. But looking at what's stamped in our passports, we were told we were given 3 days. Yeah. So for those who came to us to ask as to whether they can leave, personally, I was telling them I don't really know because we've been given 3 days, and that stamp is not a visa to exit. And so if do anything that is going to complicate matters, you should also think of your who are back there. Okay. I mean, it can backlash to them. Yeah, that was it. But I've had some calls, and people are telling me they've exited successfully into Germany. Okay. For UK, the was trying to go, they didn't succeed. But for the Germany, 2 people so far.
2 people so far. Okay, let me now speak to Daniel. Hi, Daniel. Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, so you were able to cross into Budapest.
Yeah.
What was your experience like?
Okay, I was in Kharkiv. It's a border city near Russia, and yesterday we saw in the news that it was heavily bombarded. Yeah. So for us, we were very lucky that we moved as fast as we could. Because had it not been that, I don't know what we would be today, maybe dead or alive or hurt. We don't know. But we started our journey, I think on Saturday from Kharkiv, and it took almost like 24 hours to get to the border side of Hungary. Okay. But there was a struggle to. I mean, the temperature also wasn't helping because it was in the negatives. People were freezing. when a train comes for us to board, they'll be like, it's only women and children at the moment, of which we understand.
Okay, but even for the women and children, were they allowing African women and children?
Yeah, at the Hungarian border, they were allowing African women as well, which was good compared to the other borders where they weren't allowing African women to pass. Yeah, so we waited for our turn. We had to struggle. There are some they had to bribe some of the
officials,
some of the Ukrainian, before they would take you in. So
wow.
I mean, we did all that we could, and when we got to the border, it was to cross into Romania was also another struggle. Hungary was also another struggle.
Why
we
so?
had to do because when it is your turn, the police will come and they'll be like, go back, and they will let their Ukrainian people rather come and pass and go. So we had to find ways and means to get inside, of which it took so many shenanigans, but.
Tell me about it. I want to know. I mean, what really did you have to do? Did you have to bribe some of the officials?
Yeah, there was some police officers. You had to call them aside and talk to them that you are with your brothers and like things are getting bad. There's no food. There is the weather is not helping, and you need to leave like as soon as possible. And some of them they will take money and they will take you inside.
Okay.
And yeah, so when you get there, they will stamp your passport. And they will take you to the Hungarian border.
Was it expensive? Whatever you had to pay them, if we're looking at it in cedis or maybe US dollars, how much was that?
Probably between $100 to $200.
Per person?
Yeah, per person.
So what if you didn't have that money?
It means that you'll be stuck, or you have to find another way to get inside.
Wow. So how many hours were you at the border before you were able to cross over into
I would say that we're there for probably like 6 to 8 hours.
Okay.
Yeah.
That must have been tough. Generally, how many other Africans did you see? I'm sure that you were too traumatized to even count, but if you could just estimate, looking around.
Over 100, 200 Africans. And Ghanaians, I would say over 40, 50 Ghanaians were there. But the group I was traveling with were like 7 Ghanaians.
And all of you were able to cross into Hungary?
Yeah.
Okay. So you are still there at the moment?
Now I'm in Budapest, Hungary. Luckily when we got here, the government was so welcoming, and they granted us temporary residence for I think a month. So you can stay here legally for a month and try to figure out what you want to do next. I mean, whether you would want to stay here till the war is over and you go back, or if you want to go back to your country, that is also an option.
What do you want to do?
Currently, I'm talking with my parents and my brother, who is also in the States, and one auntie in Germany. So we are trying to figure out what is best for me at the moment.
Okay.
So when we figure it out, I would know what to do next. But for now, I'm in contact with my family.
Okay. And your family is not in Accra, not in Ghana?
They are in Ghana. My mom and dad are in Kumasi.
Oh, okay. But of course, you're waiting for an advice from your other family members before you decide. But for you yourself,
well informed.
Where do you want to go?
For me, I want to stay here for a while and figure out things. Whether I would want to wait and go back when the war is over, or I would want to come home to Ghana and also wait. Okay. But for my school, they are offering to do online class for now. So it doesn't matter where I go at the moment. Anywhere that I am, I can connect online and still do classes. Yeah.
Have you heard from any of the other Ghanaian students? I'm sure once you crossed into Hungary, you met a number of other students who were also studying in Ukraine.
Yeah.
What has the treatment been like for you Ghanaians there?
Okay, when we got here, there wasn't any government officials to take them to Ghana or anything. Even this morning, I contacted some of them and they were like, they haven't heard anything from the Ghana government here, and they don't know whether there's any evacuation plan for them. So if they are going to go to Ghana, they have to get their own tickets and do their own COVID test and go to Ghana.
You're talking about all the Ghanaian students who are in Hungary at the moment have not heard from any Ghanaian official?
No, they said there hasn't been any evacuation plan for them as we speak right now.
But at least are they in touch with the Ghanaian officials there at the mission?
Yeah,
Okay.
but they haven't been guaranteed anything yet at the moment.
Okay. But a number of them want to come home.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, well, we'll check with government and see, because they also gave an indication that the mission was in touch with a number of you at the various borders. In fact, they were able to, facilitate the crossing of the Hungary border as well, which is one of the countries that they mentioned when the Foreign Affairs Minister spoke. So I'm sure there are plans probably to evacuate. But you've heard that there are other Ghanaians who have been able to come home. In fact, yesterday we recorded a number of them back home. How did you feel about that? And for those in Hungary who are saying they have not really gotten any, communication from the government officials there about evacuation plans, how did they feel upon hearing this news?
I think most of them are like heartbroken, especially those who are not financially sound right now to go home on their own. They were kind of hoping that maybe by now there would be tickets available for them to move. So right now they are just staying here in hotels or in. There's also Red Cross and other organizations which are providing accommodation for them at the moment. So they are praying and hoping that things will facilitate and speed up so that they can get tickets to move to Ghana.
So where you're being sheltered at the moment, is that your own arrangement, or this is an arrangement by Ghana? Because the Foreign Affairs Minister also did indicate that there were some 25 who arrived in Hungary and were being housed by the Pentecostal Church in Budapest. Are you one of those 25?
No, for me, I'm with a friend. We are in a hotel. We are on our own.
You're paying for all this?
Yeah.
Is that not a little too expensive for you?
Yeah, it is. But at the moment, we don't really have a choice.
Okay. But the others, you're sure, of course, based on what the minister said, that they're being shielded by the Pentecostal Church? Can you confirm that?
For that, I would. I don't know much about it, but
okay.
Those who I know that are in other shelters, I don't know whether it's from the Pentecostal church.
Let me go back to John. So, John, you're back home now. I mean, I can imagine how your family also felt meeting you at the airport, knowing that their son, their brother, was back home safely. What was that like?
Well, it was a nice moment, and actually last year I was home, and then in August, but it hadn't been long a while since they last saw me, but it was so fun. But the issue still is that our friends in Sumi, who are still in the bunkers, are running out of food, and we actually call on government to really intercede in the shortest time. Our friends in Sumi, and they are calling us so much, that they really need help and propagate this news. And some of the students have also lost their passports and all. A friend of mine was from Hungary, where my brother is yesterday, and she's saying trying to contact the embassy. She went on Monday and Tuesday. They've not opened the embassy, and she doesn't know what to do. So I don't know if maybe a cover letter would be given to her to pass and come home. She really wants to come home. She's also living in a hotel, and she's paying 10 euros per night. That is too expensive. Yeah.
Okay.
So if government could do something for them, we would appreciate it. Yeah.
Okay. There were some contact numbers that were given, to students who had crossed over to Ukraine, to Slovakia, to Hungary, to Romania, and Poland. I'm sure that you've gotten those numbers as well, and those students may have gotten the numbers. John?
Yes, please. We have.
Okay. And even with all those numbers, they're still waiting, especially for this girl who says her passport is missing. Was she able to contact these numbers?
Yes, please. She has contacted them, and then they were in a group, as she claims. And then some of them have already left, those with passports, and their parents can actually afford the tickets. They've come home, and then she's gradually becoming lonely over there. She can't escape. She doesn't have her passport on her. She lost it. So we don't know what we can do about that. But she is a citizen of Ghana. She's Ghanaian. So if she's coming home, I think many things can be done about that. Yeah.
Any communication from your school as to whether there'll be online classes in the meantime while you're here?
Yeah, for now we are on a 2 weeks vacation.
Okay.
So after 2 weeks, then what to do, whether to continue online or we are not even going to school at all. We don't know yet, depending on the outcome of events from this war. Yeah.
But how do you feel about the students who are saying they do not want to come home? What is the exact reason for not wanting to come back home?
Yeah, so for some of them, they feel like the war is going to end very soon and there's no need coming back to Ghana. They would rather stay there, and then once it's done, they just go back.
Okay.
And then other people also want to use this opportunity, go to visit their families.
Okay.
Because, I mean, applying for UK to Germany is quite tedious. And so if they've been given this opportunity to leave Ukraine, they want to utilize it.
Yeah.
And then go see their families. Yeah.
So it's not because some of them are saying maybe Ghana is a difficult country to stay in, and so maybe that's why. Because we've spoken to a few of them who are saying that they have friends who are telling them not to come back because it's really tough back here.
Yeah, and not to come back then is still there, but home is still home. Ghana is still our home. And, well, things are difficult here. I was here last year, as I stated earlier. Things are difficult because of everything. But personally, I wouldn't want to come back after medical school to Ghana here. Yeah, but
wait, hold on.
Still have to continue.
You wouldn't want to come back to Ghana after medical school.
No.
Why?
I would rather go elsewhere and then work. I actually came here and then practiced a while, clinicals and all, but the way things are done here, it's not really how we are taught back there in Ukraine. So,
explain further. How are things done down here?
Okay, so to go on with it, you see, when a patient should come, I'm a medical student, so if a patient should come to hospital, there's a particular approach that you go on, speak to the patient, and then even before you order certain instrumental methods of diagnosing what is wrong with the patient, just speaking to the patient alone can give you a particular idea of what is going on. I was in the hospital and a patient will just come, tell you 1 or 2 symptoms, and they're like, call up, go to the lab, just go do this. I mean, before the patient goes to the lab, there are lots of things you can do to save cost, to do time. We quality over quantity up there, but it's plenty. Yeah. So
you think that, for a lot of patients, we're being made to pay monies that we don't even need to pay, when in actual fact we can get our diagnosis without going through that process?
Yes.
What about the infrastructure back here in Ghana? I mean, there have been complaints about not having enough hospitals. We have government saying that we're embarking on Agenda 111 to build more hospitals in every district and in some regions as well. And there are no beds. I mean, ambulances, we have another challenge with all of that. For you, studying in Ukraine and coming back home to do your clinicals here, what were some of the differences that you noticed?
So for Ukraine, I mean, there are lots of doctors. I mean, you can meet a taxi driver who happens to be a doctor. There are a lot of people who are doctors there. In Ghana, getting access to become a very verified medical doctor in here is difficult. You have to go through this process of exams and all those. This is okay. It's normal, but the tendency for you to become a medical doctor in Ukraine is so easy. You becoming a medical doctor in the UK is so easy as compared to Ghana. And so we wouldn't even wish to come here. Talking about the infrastructure, I mean, we have better buildings out there. And then the environment in which you would work is even a motivation. And we are up there, we hear of all these strikes and all. There's no motivation to come home.
Daniel, do you also share the same opinion? If you are done with medical school, would you come back home?
There is a possibility, but there's also other opportunities. For instance, when I talk with some of my friends here, they are not on government scholarship. They are paying their own school fees here, so they don't feel obliged to return back to Ghana after school. But had it been maybe government supporting them here or scholarship or something, that they would feel like they owe Ghana something. They need to return and serve their nation. But
so where is that sense of patriotism? Does it really count if government is paying your school fees or not? We all are being asked to come back home and help build our nation instead of having our talents all exported to other countries to help develop their nations.
Yeah, I mean, it's it's also parts. You have to be patriotic sometimes, but for them, I think they are looking out for themselves. Everybody wants what is best for them, and also comparing like salaries of doctors also as well. It's more, I think, better in Europe or the UK or United States more than in Ghana.
Okay. Did you come back home to also do your clinicals as well?
No, I was gonna come this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So hopefully, when all this is over, I'll be in Ghana to do my clinical.
Are you nervous about it? I mean, hearing all the stories about our healthcare system in the country.
Actually, I'm excited about it. I wanna learn more and compare it to what I've learned here, and compare and contrast and see how things are.
I see. Interesting. Yeah. Well, Johnny's here. I don't know if you'd want to ask any questions, but yeah. For those of you who are watching, this is the reality on the ground. This is the reality on the ground.
Well, I'm underwhelmed.
Huh.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I'm underwhelmed.
Yeah. Gentlemen, maybe your final words before we even wrap up on this. I don't know if we have enough time, Daniel. But
okay. For me, I would want to plead to the Ghana government. At least there are a lot of Ghanaians in Ukraine. It's our time we get our own embassy in Ukraine. If you need anything, you have to. First, Ghanaian embassy used to be in Russia. I learned that right now it's somewhere in Switzerland. Students have to pass through a lot of channels to even get to our country representatives, which is very hectic. So I would want to plead with the Ghanaian government. They should just have a cordial relationship with the Ukrainian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and they should do something, maybe establish an embassy for us so that things will be easy. I'm not saying something is like this will happen again in the future, but we just want to take precaution. And also I want to thank my family, my brother, my fiancé, and everybody who has given me support during this difficult time. Like it really means a lot to me. And also thanks to my Ghanaian people who are always calling and checking up on me, all my friends. And everybody. I want to say thank you to everybody. Okay.
John, what about you? What do you have to say? And quick one, by the way. So there were some parents who were not too happy with government. They said government was more reactive than proactive in evacuating, its citizens from the. In fact, let me just take that story quickly. So there were some parents who spoke to us yesterday after the Ministry of Foreign Affairs met with them at the International Conference Center. And while some of them were heartbroken about not having their kids cross over into the country, there was another man who said that he was in fact very disappointed in government for not acting timely because other countries were doing so, especially because there had been some alerts that there was going to be a war come what may. Take a look.
I can't able to sleep all the time, crying. My son is still in the Ukraine, you're suffering. You see the Ukraine suffering. So he went to the carry machine and informed all this thing to them. Well, my father. His father says he should extra patient. When? And they evacuate them to Ghana. When?
I have two children in Ukraine, in fact, a daughter and a son. And so when this situation came up, it really got me confused. I did not know what to do next. And then I've been trying to find out how close the situation is to my children.
Some parents, however, expressed disappointment in what they say was government's delay in addressing the situation.
I feel disappointed in our government. We all know that American and some other countries have evacuated or started evacuating their nationals with several warnings that come what may, the war is going to happen. So I'm surprised that our country or our government did not take any action. They waited until our family or our children or our wards get into this kind of mess. So now when you call them, they are messed up.
For now, government has been able to migrate 527 students to neighboring countries and are gathering efforts to evacuate them all. But until then, parents remain jittery. Judith Awachitando, TV3 News, Accra.
And back to John. So John is one of the students who was able to come back home yesterday, courtesy government. John, what do you think of what that parent, the last parent, said, that he was disappointed in government for not acting in a timely manner?
Well, I would say that they all did their best. The government has done really well in evacuating us. You see, I'm not an active leader now in the NOPS. I'm a former vice president in my city, and we were having the current president and the vice were having conversation with government, and I don't know what was really going on, but they responded in any ways, and we are very grateful. Each one played a role, and then he did it very well. If not for them, we wouldn't have been here at this point. Yeah. So I mean, they are parents, and we understand that you would have loved that government would have responded earlier and coming to evacuate us. But I mean, sometimes certain things have to be considered. So I don't know what was really the delay, but in any case, they are doing their best now.
Daniel, do you share the same opinion, or do you think government could have acted faster?
For me, I think government could have done better, honestly, because when the news came that Russia has surrounded Ukraine with troops, it was like a month or 2-3 weeks before they actually invaded. And during that time, other nationals were being sent letters, official letters from their embassies to evacuate.
Okay.
So even when our school didn't want us to go, because they received that official letter from the embassy, they had to let the students go. Because I know for United States, for Canada, Germany, even India, Israel, they had official letters from their embassy that school, please let our citizens leave because we feel that their lives are in danger. So these people were lucky to leave even before the invasion started. And at that time, we had started contacting the Ghana embassy that, please, can we get an official letter from you guys so that we can give to our school rector, who can then allow us to leave? And for weeks we didn't hear anything. You know, Ghana, things are done like at a slow pace. So by the time we had a letter came that, okay, you guys have to evacuate, then Russia has started bombing us already, which was very terrifying.
Which of the missions did you write to? Did you write to the Foreign Affairs Ministry here in Ghana, or did you try to contact the missions in Switzerland?
Switzerland.
Okay.
Switzerland, yes.
And you still didn't hear from them?
It took a very long time. By the time they heard that, or a letter came that you guys can now evacuate, then Russia has been bombing us for over 3 days.
Yeah. But even before that evacuation letter, there was a previous letter from the Foreign Affairs Ministry where they said you should take cover and you should, try and find a place just to stay safe. And even that, government was chided heavily for that. Did you think that it was a wrong call?
No. I think for the students here, they are not politicians. They don't really care about government. They want to just get out. You telling me I should find shelter. They don't live on the streets. Of course, they are in hostel, they are in a shelter, but they still don't feel safe in the country. They want to get out. So you telling them find a shelter, find some place to hide. It's not comforting. They want to get out, and that is what they wanted, but they didn't get it.
At least there are some bomb shelters that some of the citizens went into. When the attacks happened. Is that not what the ministry was probably referring to, just in case, while they prepared to evacuate citizens?
Yeah, I know, but we are from Ghana. War is something that we are not used to. We have not experienced it. So even when things were rough in Ukraine, you could see the citizens. Some of them are walking about as if nothing is at stake. But for us Africans, we're really panicking, and so our attitude compared to those safety measures, find a bunker and hide, find a shelter, do this, it wasn't something that we wanted. We just wanted to get out of the country. Yes.
John, are you there, John?
Yes, please.
Yes. So how did you take that communique from government when they said find a shelter in the meantime while we put in place measures to evacuate you?
What we wanted was to get out of the country. I mean, for the sanity of our parents and guardians back home. I mean, the news for us, the news in Ukraine is in their language, Ukrainian language. And so they were back here and watching the news and calling us. I mean, my dad was really giving me the news on what is going on here. What is going on in Ukraine. I was not really seeing what is going on. And anytime I tell them, I'm okay, they're like, no. So for the sanity of our parents, I mean, we had to come home. Yeah.
When you say you did
And
not
that
see
what
what was
we were
happening,
asking government.
when you say you did not see what was happening,
Yeah.
I don't get you.
So for my city, as I said, there was no bombing as at the time I had left. There was no blast or any bombing there. And they were watching the news, I mean, on CNN, BBC, and the others, and they were telling us what is going on there. I'm like, oh, okay. But the news out there is in Ukrainian.
Okay.
And was not really about anything like the BBC then and all. No, we were just cool in our city as at then, making calls to those who were in other cities and then asking them what was going on. We were not necessarily about the news of what is going on. We were just there hoping to just meet our friends. So we were making arrangements in my city for those who were coming from the east. Until we heard at dawn that there was a blast, and then we were like, okay, now we can't actually wait. We have to leave. And so we made contact with them that we were going to get a bus when we find one. Yeah, so we spoke to the officials who were at the bus station.
And then you
the
left.
right things, measures were put in place.
Okay. John, your final words to government and to students who are still stranded in the various countries.
First of all, allow me to thank everyone praying and then checking out on us, who were checking on us in Ukraine. It really meant a lot to us that knowing that someone cares for you out there. We thank the Church of Pentecost so much, and we also thank government so well. And more importantly, we are calling on government again that our students are still in Sumi and that they are in distress now. They are running out of food and water. So government should really intervene for us in the shortest possible time.
Sumi is in Ukraine.
Yes, please.
Okay. Sumi, right? That's what it's called.
Yes, Sumi. S-U-M-Y.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm sure government officials are watching. I'm sure the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is also, on top of its game, and hopefully they'll evacuate the rest of the citizens as well. And by the way, is there a way we can reach the lady that's lost her passport as well, so that we can at least try and see if we can help in that, direction as well?
Very well. I'll share details.
You'll share it. Okay. All right. By the way, so a press release has been put out, and I just want to say thank you, by the way, to John. John Jemeke is the former vice for Nukes Chernivtsi, and also Daniel Amwabing is a student in Ukraine who has been able to cross over to Budapest in Hungary, and he says he's waiting on, the decision by his family to determine where exactly he goes. Gentlemen, thank you so much, and I wish you all luck. I really do hope that after everything is said and done, when the dust settles, you'll be able to complete your education and come back home and help us, fix our health system. Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. Even the year didn't sound too encouraging, but I do hope that you come back. But thank God for your lives, and we're praying for the lives of all the other students who are stranded all across the borders around Ukraine and in Ukraine as well. Thank you, gentlemen. But a press release was put out, and it was released on the 26th of February, 2022. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration wishes to inform the general public, particularly Ghanaian nationals in Ukraine who are traveling to neighboring countries such as Slovakia, Hungary, Romania, and Poland, to take note of the details of the following contact persons who are on standby to assist them to cross their respective borders. And if we can just put this up, Daniel and Oliver, this was sent into the group, and so please just project it so that they can screenshot it for those who are watching. Now, it's given contacts for those in Ukraine. There's one Dr. Albert S.L. Kicha and Mr. Philip Bobier Ansa, who's the Nukes president in Ukraine. And so we'll project it shortly so that you can screenshot it. Also in Slovakia, one Mr. James Arthur. Hungary, Mr. Bolditza Peter Ents and Mr. Gabriel Asante. In Romania, Mr. Marian Stanku and Mr. Philip Bobier Ansa. Again, who's a Nukes president in Ukraine. And Poland, Mr. Samuel Asante Amofa. Guys, if you can please project this for us. It says the ministry further wishes to advise the general public to be wary of unscrupulous persons posing to be designated officials for the evacuation exercise. The ministry will continue to keep the general public abreast of any new development regarding the evacuation exercise. So those numbers are there, of course. And also, if you're in Ghana, you can contact 059-2031751 for some inquiries. 059-2031759. Producers, could you please kindly project the numbers
I think they're working on it.
Okay, you're working on it. Okay, so there's another number. So for someone in Ukraine, it's +233, and I think you can send a WhatsApp, by the way. +233 244 690580. Again, +233 244 690580. And those are the numbers, by the way, on your screens right now. Please try and just screen grab it or capture it now so that you can share. Let's share it widely so every family member can also contact these numbers and find out what is being done, at least for their family members. Well, yeah, so that's it. Yeah.
I think that first of all, I'm grateful on behalf of the stranded students who came home. Government has done a yeoman's job trying to bring them home. The only thing perhaps missing is the speed, and would encourage governments to speed up and try and get a lot more of them. But so far, for what they have done, for what government has done, Madam Shirley Ayokobochi and your team out there, and all our foreign missions working closely to make sure this happens. We are grateful. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Something saddened me though. You asked the question whether they would want to come back, and the guy was hesitant. And I was just telling our colleagues, the cameramen, I was just telling them that if somebody brings, per our present situation, brings a ship to say, I want slaves out of this country, the ship will sink at Tema Harbor. That's how people feel on the ground.
Yeah.
You know, that's really how people feel, because they are looking at their +1 -1. They are looking at how when they are sick, nobody will tell them to pay fuel for an ambulance. They are looking at now living, for example, alone, trying to hide, you know, and trying to stay in safety. If they are not living with anybody and there's a problem and they make a phone call to an ambulance company or service, they know that the ambulance service will come and attend to them. They won't say, let your auntie or whatever it is call, or let somebody bring you to the roadside, that kind of thing. They know that. They know that if they pay their taxes, they get value for money. They know that they will be accounted to or for. They know that there's a labor exchange where they can go and put their names and their qualification and say, if a vacancy applies or appears somewhere, I get it. So they are looking at the system that's working. Even if it's not giving them as much as they would have wished for, they would rather stay in that system rather than come and be stressed up. You know, there are doctors in this country who go to work on a daily basis and sometimes even gloves, surgical gloves, to perform simple procedure. They don't have
it.
Nurses who can find syringes and methylated spirit. So many things like that. And we tend to joke with them until it happens to a big person. And then we wake up to that conversation. Even so, for example, in the ambulance matter, Mr. P.V. Obi, and I don't want to remind their families of their pain, but Mr. P.V. Obi, he died in a taxi. This is a senior government advisor. He had worked at the, the National Development Planning Commission boss and all of that. He died in a taxi. We spoke for a little while. We left it. Vice President Emisata, what was the story? Professor Atta Mills, what was the story? So things happen, we talk for a while, we let it slide. And so many other people. You know, it's sometimes it's painful when you hear people say, you know, and you can't question people's decision on whether they want to be loyal or patriotic to a country or not. You can't question it. Because if this morning that child in, say, Kupi is going to school or it decides not to go to school because 19 of his colleagues were sodomized, and up until now, the court case is still dragging. When the man had admitted that he committed the crime, the medical report had confirmed that he committed that crime, and he's still holding. The boys are leaving the classroom. What kind of patriotism are you expecting from him? If it happened elsewhere, the guy would have been dealt with long time ago. So patriotism is not muff.
But then is it right if a student then says that government did not pay for my school fees to study abroad, and so I don't owe government any obligation to come back home and build my nation?
You see,
I find that
there's a thin line. Government didn't pay your school fees, fine. But while you were there, did government get closer to you? I mean, Mr. Amwabin just told you how it's difficult sometimes to even reach out to
them.
People who are representing us out there, who are paid with our monies. They travel on diplomatic passports. To even reach out to them. And this, you see, they are in school with other nationals.
Yeah.
They see how their nationals just make a phone call, send an email, and assistant comes to them. So they're looking at their situation, and they'll rather want to go and seek citizenship elsewhere. It's a sad situation. I know that the National Youth Authority has a mandate to ensure that there is that sense of patriotism. Thankfully, I've been a member of the Boy Scout movement before. I'm still a member of the National Cadet Corps.
Okay.
So patriotism perhaps comes to me easily, and because of where I grew up and how I grew up. But how many people were exposed to that? Girls' Guide, all those things. You know, it's painful. So maybe we need to wake up. The National Youth Authority needs to wake up, have a road show, try and get it into the minds of the people that this is it. And they need to be advocating for the things that the children need.
They do.
I mean, that inequality where I have to sit for an ICT exam, and for the 9 years that I'm in school, never seen a computer before, never had opportunity to play with a mouse before, never explored before. Even the school doesn't have electricity. But when BEC time comes, they print shamefully the ICT paper and they bring it to me to answer. Answer what? So most of them will do A1, B1, A1, B1, A1, B1, section A, they leave it. Section B, they make it go sleep. But what are they going to write? What are they going to write? So how do you get patriotism from people? And the interesting thing is that most of the people who now, the crop of people who are the helm of affairs now in the past government were people who benefited from the country. And sometimes when you interview them one-on-one, they tell you their fondest memories. When we were young, they used to give us this. They used to bring milk. You know, an old woman told me they used to bring them warm milk. You know,
it?
Yes, like now the children are being promised cocoa drink, they are not getting. But they used to bring them warm milk. They would drink. They tell you, ask the old
How long ago was this? Warm milk?
Those who are in their 80s, those who are in their 70s, some in their 60s.
I see.
They used to drink warm milk in school.
Where did we pass?
I don't know. There are people in this country.
Because I don't remember ever getting any.
There are people in this country who attended university, perhaps they are in their 50s now, maybe 60s, who had to even demonstrate because food that was being provided for them as university students delayed. And at some point, they even said that they want fish. They are tired of the chicken and the meat. There are people in this country who enjoy those benefits. Go and check what the school feeding children are eating. And you say you want patriotism from them.
Anyway, let's take a break.
So we know what is right.
But we're not doing it.
But we are not doing it. And you see, the students out there, they're just telling you, there are those who are willing to come. But if they come, what situation are they going to work in? And we'll wrap up on this. Like what is happening at Lekpe Bakwa, the hospital I showed you. If you're a medical doctor, you have trained in Ukraine or Russia, and you come back home to want to serve your country, and you come and your consulting room is leaking, and in Ukraine, the consulting room is nicely done with air conditioning.
Patriotism.
What is patriotism? The man who is sending you there is an air conditioned office in Accra.
And for me, one of the biggest worries, something that I think John said, was that when he came back and he was doing his clinicals, there's certain things that as a professional,
it should be there.
You should know. You don't have to ask the person to go and do a lab test before you figure out what is wrong with the person. Are patients being made to pay a lot more than they should for something that maybe a medical doctor should be able to diagnose? You know, and for me, that's also another worry. Because if I don't have money, if my NHIS cannot cover all these things, and I'm being told to go and do a lab test for something that should be detectable, you know, in an instance during a dialogue, then
I told you one thing.
A problem.
There was a situation where a friend of mine's uncle was in one of the hospitals in this country. A nurse had just come and a doctor had prescribed a medicine. A nurse had just come to want to inject the person. Somebody had gone to visit, so he took a photo of the medicine and sent it to somebody outside, a doctor. The guy looked at it and said, don't inject this individual. When the doctor came back, the doctor said that the consulting physician, he said, no, that medicine is not supposed to be used on this person. So that person If this individual had not taken the shot, he would have died. He would have died. Medical negligence happens every single day. People are operated on and they leave things in their stomach. On their belly. They leave things in their body. Nobody gets held accountable for it. It's gone. They tell you, go and buy this medicine. You buy the medicine, they say, there is not this one. Go and buy this one. Buy this one.
So who's footing that bill?
Who's footing that bill? And you want them to come home.
Come home. Brefio, Brefio. Can we play that song from Fuse ODG? It's Ghana month.
Somebody told me, it's Ghana month. It's Ghana month.
Brefio,
yes, Brefio,
Brefio. Come and let's build the nation. We'll fix it some way, somehow.
Block by block.
AJ, why are you asking me which nation? We're in Ghana.
You have to be, you have to be aglow this morning.
Aglow. Good morning to all those ladies. I have, high respect for you.
Stay out of the dark. Be aglow.
Yeah.
For Ghana.
If we find that song, we'll play it for you. Yeah. It's for all our, students studying abroad and all those living. Yeah. Oh, actually, so I dedicate this to all.
Guys, be aglow for Ghana. Be on fire for Ghana.
Come home. We're waiting for you. Let's fix.
Stay at the dark. Be aglow.